Savvy Central Radio, drawing out the best from our guest, with your host, Christina Nitchman.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Savvy Central Radio. This is your host, Christina Nitchman. Each week, Savvy runs weekly broadcasts providing entrepreneurs and successful individuals a platform to express their dreams, hopes, lessons learned, expertise, and wisdom with the world. Today, we have a special live show with MargOH, BT Shea, 2014 MAC Award Nominee, writer, comedian, and performance artist from Providence, Rhode Island, where she performed award-winning Judy Garland and Liza Minnelli tribute shows. Now focusing on theater and cabaret in New York City, today she joins us to talk about her newest work, For the Love of Judy, premiering at Dixon Place, July 29th through July 31st. For only 3 nights only, you can catch For the Love of Judy at Dixon Place, July 29th through July 31st at bit.ly.com/fortheloveofjudy. Hi, how are you, BT? How you doing today?
Oh, great. Hi, how are you? So great to be on your show. I'm so thrilled.
Oh, I'm so glad you could join us today. It's a fabulous honor to have you out here today. I'm glad it's a live show, and I wanted to ask you ahead of time, this is a live show, so people can call in if they wish. Are you comfortable with that?
Oh, of course. Yes, I love calls. Are you kidding me?
Fabulous, fabulous. So anyone out there who's listening live, you can call in today at 718-664-6303. While we're talking, I might have to put you on hold to answer your call, but if you'd like to call in and ask BT any questions, feel free. So before we get started, BT, share a little bit about your history, how you came to working in musical theater and cabaret. How did it all turn out for you?
Oh, well, I mean, when I was a little kid, I spent a lot of time listening to music alone in my room, sometimes when you're a little lonely, for solitude, and I was always obsessed with music and divas and pop music and musical theater. And although it took me a while to get around back to it, it was always my dream to be a singer. And when I moved to New York about 15 years ago, I decided to start an M&N show where I incorporated my drag, which was how I actually got started in performing, was doing drag. I mean, it's such a long story. I could be here for 2 hours explaining that. But one of my favorite divas was Judy Garland, and it came about that I was in a pageant back in Providence, Rhode Island, and I did Judy for my talent. And I didn't win the pageant, but I came in second runner-up. But right after that, people were coming up to me and saying, "Oh my God, you're such a great Judy Garland in Technicolor." And I got booked a few gigs back in 1995, and I haven't stopped working doing shows. Back then, I lip-synced to Judy, but over the years, it just progressed. And then when I moved to New York, I started these M&N cable access shows, and I eventually started having musical guests on and nightlife performers and drag queens and all sorts of fun things. And I did that for 4 years, and then I turned it into a live show where I started performing skits and continuing to do drag and Judy, and then I just started singing, and that's really when my dreams started coming true. And I never thought I could sing, but I found a way to do it. So that's kind of like my path. That's how it all came about.
I love that, because I heard early back in my teenage years, I studied opera, and I loved it so much. My dream was, hey, I'm going to go and get me a vocals coach. Someday I'm going to sing at the Metropolitan Opera is what I hoped. And I had this, I would say, kind of a Simon Cowell type vocal teacher who told me, well, you'll be lucky if you can sing for the choir, church choir, you're so horrible. And after I got a very compassionate teacher working with me, I was actually able to build my voice to a very nice level. I wouldn't call it Beverly Hills or anything, but I think everyone has the capacity to do their best and maybe not be like an opera star, but, I think we all have capacity. You just need a good teacher sometime and to practice.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's exactly, we have so much in common, because that's exactly what happened to me. When I was 9 years old, I begged and pleaded my mother to take me to vocal lessons. And she finally did. She conceded and was like, okay, fine. And I went to a couple, and then after the second one, she said, that I couldn't go back because she couldn't really afford it anymore. But I was like, well, I could use my paper route money and blah, blah, blah. And then she kind of just shoved it under the rug. And then finally I was bothering her so much that she told me that the vocal teacher told her that I was wasting my money and that I was tone deaf. And so that got stuck in my mind until 5 years ago. So that was actually only 7 years ago when I actually started singing. So, and then I have had two great teachers since then. Elizabeth Warren was one of them, and then my second one, who I absolutely adore and I've been going to for the past year and a half, is Barbara Gustern-Meyer, who teaches to a lot of the downtown artists like Justin Vivian Bond and Lady Rizzo and a few others. And she, in the past year, has improved my voice so much to where I stay on pitch now all the time. And I don't have to, it's just been amazing. And you're right. I mean, she literally just said one thing to me about where your tone should be at different places, and it was about pulling an arrow back and being on the same plane. And I was with the arrow, and I was like, oh my God, it makes so much sense now, because I think when I used to try to sing higher, I would scream, you know what I mean, instead of going up into my nasal cavity or whatever.
Yeah. Also, I think there's a certain fear with the higher pitch notes. Anyway, we have this intense fear, oh my gosh, high C, that we close up and we kind of freak out. Yeah. I was going to say, how did it come about for you, your character, MargOH Channing, and then how does that work into your newest show for the Love of Judy? How did that work out for you?
Well, when I moved to New York, I'd been doing the Judy Garland impersonations, and I had done Liza Minnelli for a while, and I strictly lip sync. But when I moved to the live shows and I started working at places like the Duplex and Laurie Beachman Theater, I realized that I needed to expand, and do more stuff. So I created a character, called MargOH Channing, and I made her kind of a boozy, floozy, cabaret ex-Russ Meyer girl. So she kind of has a sordid past, and with that, I was able to start writing some kind of offbeat songs and experimenting with some different types of music, and I hired a great piano player who was in a blues band, and so we worked really well together. So that's how I came to sing and become a singer. So I always say that Judy gave me my courage to start singing, and that's kind of where I am now. I've been doing cabarets for 7 years now, and in 2014 I got nominated for a MAC Award, which was a huge honor for me. And I decided that, I needed to go back and thank Judy for getting me to this point, and that's really what this show is about. It's about taking you through my life from the beginning as a boy and having those dreams and just kind of not going after them until I'm here now and I'm 47 years old. So it's kind of a story about the twists and turns and what happened and why I didn't go for my dreams and do exactly what I wanted to do. But I'm doing it now, so I decided to write this play. And so it's really a play that features the music of Judy. And so that's what brought me to do this show that's coming up at the end of July.
I love that, because sometimes we don't realize the impact we have on people's lives, and then different people who are either singers or just living inspirational lives and how they touch us. You had mentioned that there was a teacher early on in your young life who kind of discouraged you from singing, and had you not come across Judy and some of those phenomenal teachers later in your life who actually encourage you to live your best life and live your dream, where might you be today? I mean, who knows? You would maybe not be a very happy camper right now.
Oh, exactly. I mean, and there are plenty of times in my life where I wasn't happy, and I decided to go down the wrong path and not do the best thing. But yeah, actually discovering Judy and becoming a drag queen actually saved my life. So,
wow.
And I'm really grateful to have had this chance, and then just keep working hard and try to accomplish goals. Set goals for myself throughout all these years, and I've been accomplishing them slowly. Not everything happens overnight. So I've just been really working hard to try to get to this point. The show coming up is really a thrill for me because it's my first curated show. It's actually being produced by Dixon Place. For me, someone who actually hasn't really ever been trained in anything, I've just learned how to do things as I've gone along and do my best for a place like Dixon Place to allow me to present my work at their gorgeous theater is like a thrill of a lifetime for me, you know. So if I died tomorrow, or if I died on the August 1st, I'd be a happy man.
Well, I'm loving hearing this story because so many people have come on my show saying that for years they wanted to live their dream. It felt not possible. And then one day either a crisis happened or something pushed them off the edge. But still, there are many who might be listening in who are still not realizing their dream. And I'm hoping hearing your story will give them the push to go out there and live their dream. Share with our audience where they can go see For the Love of Judy and check you out. You're only for 3 nights at the end of the month. July 29th, is it? And 30th, 31st?
Yeah, For the Love of Judy is July 20. Opening night is July 29th at 7:30, and then July 30th at 7:30, and then July 31st at 10 p.m. This is the first showings of the show, so it's kind of like it's definitely kind of like a workshop, and it's going to be progressing. Although we're presenting it as a full show, it is still like a work in progress. Actually, I wrote the show like 5 years ago, so gone within the past 3 months of starting to work on it, it's actually changed so much. And because actually, originally it started out as it was going to be a one-person show where I was just going to be in the show, but then it's changed to where I've hired an actor to play my male self. So I play Judy Garland and tell Judy's story simultaneously while my actor Joshua Dixon is actually playing myself. So it's really evolved into this really interesting story and the way we've done it, and I'm really proud of it. So yeah, I hope people will come and see it and take away from it that it's never too late to live your dreams, and at the age of 47, it just seems like I'm getting started.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, and Dixon Place is on the Lower East Side. It's on Christie Street, 161A Christie Street, and you can get tickets on their website, dixonplace.org, or you can go on my Facebook, MargOH Channing, and I have tons of links on there because I've been promoting like crazy.
Yeah, and I'm going to help you with that. I put up a special link, bit.ly/For the Love of Judy. So if anyone's figuring out like, I don't know how to get to it, that would be also another way if you're listening in right now. I also put it on, if you're on the show page, you can click right there on the link. It will bring you straight to the ticket page so you can get your tickets today. You don't want to miss it. But you know what's really interesting, BT? You're welcome. You know, it's really interesting. You're mentioning that you were near wanting to end your life when you came across this dream that you realized that, hey, I can live this. What was the aha moment that made you realize, hey, I can live my dream? It's not impossible. Was there a particular event that happened that, like, shaped it for you and said, you know what, I can live my dream. It's not too late?
Well, it was a combination of things. I think after years of honestly, like doing drugs and, whatever, just to ease pain of some things that happened when I was a kid. I think it just, I met my husband, which we've been together for 21 years, and he was an actor, or he's been an actor, and we worked together as well. And I think he was the one that kind of was the catalyst for me to do what I wanted to do. And I think actually it really was just, it was a moment. I think when I was a kid, I bought the Judy at Carnegie Hall album, and I used to listen to it. And then as I got older, I got away from it. And when I got the chance to do this pageant and do drag, and my friend, was the one who took out the Judy at Carnegie Hall album that I had and just put it on. And he was like, you could do a great Judy. You have like that face, like the roundness of her face, and I think you could really do it. And he did my makeup, and so that was really the change. When I actually got onto a stage and there was a curtain and they announced my name and the curtain opened, that was really just when it changed for me, and I was like, I could do this. I might not be able to sing right now, or that's not what, my goal was at the time, but I just realized that was what I wanted to be doing and where I should be. And thankfully, over the years, I've never stopped performing. Which is amazing to me because this is my 20th year now as a drag personality. So, but I really think it was, for me, the aha moment was just, meeting the right person and having them be so supportive. And he's such a great singer, and listening to him sing and him realizing his dreams at the same time, I think it just was something that just really just pushed me to be a better person. So I think that's what it was for me.
And that goes to say, for anyone out there who has a dream, it's really important, I think, to find people, a supportive network, whether it be a spouse, if that's possible, or friends, or if that's not possible, just to go out and find people who will support you in your dream, because, it's really imperative. Early on, like I told you, in high school, I had a disparaging teacher saying, there's no way you could ever sing. Well, in my early 20s, I started dance, not because I wanted to be a dancer, but just for fun. And what was so awesome about this dance teacher is he made me see the beauty in my body and in myself as a person that later on led me to have greater confidence in all areas of my life. So, yeah, I can totally see how your wonderful partner and the people you met have really brought you a long way in your life. Now, for anyone who's out there who says, hey, I've always had a dream of entering into the entertainment industry and I don't even know how to get started, what would be your advice to them?
Oh, wow. I think that's a tough one because it's so different for everyone. But I think a good piece of advice is kind of what you referred to before. It's actually just now with the internet and everything, it's so much easier. I know like in the city and most local cities, they have like things like meetup.com and where, people have common interests. But my best piece of advice would to be seek out some sort of schooling, even if it's just a core level, just to get some advice from people that have either been in the business or people that teach the business. I think that's a good idea. It's something I never did, but I kind of wish that I did. I know people that have, and it seems like when you do that and you go that route of trying to get some schooling in the arts, it always seems that's where you gather like a huge network of people. Otherwise, especially in cabaret, I think it's really, for me personally, I think it's really easy to try to start a cabaret show. It's like they have, MAC Association. There's tons of websites that you can go to. And they also have a lot of programs where like Linda Amiel Burns, and I know there's a couple other people where sign up and they do like a 4 or 6 week course. And then at the end, you get to do like a 4-song mini set of cabaret. I've gone to so many of these over the years, friends that have done cabaret and other coworkers from my day job and stuff where they've been singers or part-time singers and they want to go do this. And I've gone to see some of these shows and some people have never sung before on stage and they get up there and they're like amazing. That's a good outlet for someone, especially who wants to sing. There are a lot of opportunities in the city, but if you're outside of the city, I think the best thing to do would probably try to seek out some sort of art-based education.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's interesting because I think it really takes stepping outside your comfort zone, because in the beginning, if you want to reach for your dreams, you're going to feel a little uncomfortable. It's not going to be something you're comfortable with. My sister actually loves to sing, and she loves country music, so she started going to Denim and Diamonds. It's a big country western type bar or restaurant dancing place, and she started getting up there and dancing and singing and re-realizing her passion for singing country. So, sometimes just going out and doing that, you can relive and bring to the surface your passion for certain things. We had guest on last year who said, hey, listen, she's a pilot. And she said, I tell people now, even if you're 30 or nearly 40, it's not impossible to start a career in flying. Just get out there. And she suggests, hey, if you don't know anyone in flying, just go to your local airport. In your case, if you're interested in the entertainment industry, you can hang out in music clubs or comedy clubs and start hanging out with people in the industry so you can start. Yeah.
A couple months ago, I did a competition, New York's Next Best Drag Queen at the Metropolitan Room, and I got to meet a lot of other drag queens that actually have these gorgeous voices. So I was in the competition, and I didn't win, but I never seem to win anything, but that's okay. But anyway, I met a couple of the other performers. Since I was the oldest girl of the bunch, a lot of them asked me for advice on how to get into cabaret, and so that's probably one of the best things to do is just reach out to people. And on Facebook and stuff, people ask me all the time, Like, how did you get started, and how could I do this if I wanted to? And so I'm actually, two of the girls that were in the show, I'm going to help, after my show's over, I'm going to help them get their cabaret show started up at the Duplex. So, I mean, it was just simply them just reaching out and asking me, like, they mainly work in nightclubs and stuff like that, so they were kind of scared about working with, like, a professional cabaret, and I was like, I'll help you. I have connections, and that's a thrill for me. I mean, to be able to help other people is just amazing for me. And so, if anybody wants any advice, they can always contact me on my Facebook. I have no problem with helping people or guiding people. And it's funny. Most of the times you think of not asking people, but I have a story where I loved the song that Eartha Kitt did in a show before it was a couple of years before she died, Me Mule Duck, and it's called Everything Changes, and I adored the song, and I was on YouTube, and I used to watch the clip endlessly. So I did a cabaret where the song would be perfect in the show. So talking to my director, and he's like, well, why don't you just find out who the writers are and try to reach out to them? So I did, and Diana Hanson-Young and Brian Feinstein, I sent them an email, and I asked them if I could sing their song and, if they had the sheet music. And within, 20 minutes, one of them got back to me, and then, about a half an hour later, the other one got back to me, and they were so thrilled that I asked to sing their song. They sent me the sheet music, and then I started a relationship with them. And they've written me two original songs for my cabarets. So it's like, it never hurts just to reach out and ask someone that's in the business, because sometimes you'll be really surprised. And I really have to pinch myself, because I'm always like, my God, I've had people write a song for me that wrote a song for Eartha Kitt. Yeah. And I actually got to sing one of their songs with a piano player who played for Eartha Kitt. So I just was like, I just was like, I just couldn't believe I'm just this untrained person. But if you just ask, sometimes riches will come to you,
I love that. I love that. I was just about to ask you what's your greatest lesson, and I think that's about it right there. That is an awesome lesson, and we've touched on this particular subject on my show before. People have come to me and said, so how do you get some top-notch guests on your show and stuff? I just pick up the phone and ask, and in some cases I've left 10 emails before I get a response, or called a bunch of times before they call me back. And as long as you're respectful, that's the main key point I put out there, is that to be very respectful and don't go stalking them. There's this guy who I loved his book to death, and I contacted him 6 times over 7 months, just an email a month or so, and then called his office in Denmark twice before his people were like, we were trying to get a hold of you. Your email wasn't working. Came on my show, and he was so generous and awesome. And so it's a perfect point that you make, BT, that really just going out there and asking, you never know what wonderful stuff will fall in your lap just by asking.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, that also happened with me with another performer, Nellie McKay. She's pretty big in cabaret, and same thing with her. I just loved her music, and I sent her an email and asked her if she'd come perform, at one of my cabarets, and then it turned into where she came to almost all my cabarets and would jump up and do a song. And again, it's just one of those things where you're like, oh my God, this person wants to perform with me. It's like, I try to get out of that mindset sometimes, because I know I'm but there's just something about me personally that always feels like I'm in awe of everyone else. But in a lot of ways, it's good to be that way. And then in some ways, it's not so good to be that way all the time, because you do want to exude some confidence. So, that's another lesson, is that if you're going to pursue a career in the arts, you definitely have to exude some confidence. Because if you step on the stage and don't look confident, the audience may not go with you. But if you step on the stage and you're confident in what you're doing, even though everything might not be perfect, the audience will go there with you. That's something I've learned over the years, and something that I've kind of let go and worked on. Every time I step on the stage, even though maybe I'm not feeling 100% confident, I try to fake it.
It's true.
Not fake it I'm not a fake or phony person. I think I'm pretty authentic on stage, but you could be scared to death, but you really need to get up there and present that you're confident, and it makes things so much easier.
Yeah, because the audience can sniff it out. They'll feel it. They'll totally feel
Right.
it. So everyone, I want to let everyone know, please go get your tickets today for the Love of Judy at the Dixon Place, July 29th at 7:30 p.m., July 30th at 7:30 p.m., and July 31st at 10 p.m. Again, go to bit.ly/for the Love of Judy. Thank you. I want to thank you so much, BT, for coming out and sharing your gifts and talents with our audience and the lessons you've learned in the entertainment and cabaret industry. And before we head on out, are there any last parting words you'd like?
I'd just like to say, well, first, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it, and I love to talk, so it's always great to be on the radio. But I mean, what I like to say to your listeners is that if you have something that you want to do or a dream, just go out and do it. Set yourself a goal. Do your best to work at it, even if maybe you have to set it aside for a year or two. Don't ever think of not going back and doing it, because it's so rewarding when you actually set a goal for whatever it may be that you want to do, and you actually accomplish it. Even though it may not be perfect, you still did it, and you can say that you did it, and you can go to sleep at night happy person. That's my ending advice for everybody.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you again, BT Shea, and everyone, please stay tuned for this Friday for our guests, Carrie Nola and Lloyd Burnett, where they talk about how fear can be used as a tool for your growth, both business and personally. Thank you again, BT, for coming to Savvy Central Radio.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Savvy Central Radio is home to over 100,000 listeners per month globally and runs in syndication on 8 AM and FM platforms, including iHeartRadio and 6 podcasting platforms. To find out more about our paid sponsorship opportunities or to become a guest and find out how we can help you get your message out to the world, call 718 area code 713-2289 or email at savvycentralradio@gmail.com.